Hey guys, today I wanted to talk a little bit about hunting slash camping knives. I'm going to show you a little bit of my collection that I have and talk to you about a little bit of my experience with these. Um, so why should you trust me with this information that I'm about to give you? I've been an outdoorsman pretty much since I was 9, and I've been using knives since I was 9 for all sorts of different things. Such as bushcraft, camping, hiking, lots of different things. So I'm going to show you some knives that I used. So first thing I want to talk about is just the types of knives that I'm using, not exactly the models. I'll talk about that too, but just mainly focus on the types of knives that I'm talking about, not exactly the models. That's not as important for this particular video because this is just the basics. So first thing I have here is just a normal lockback pocket knife. This particular one is the Buck 110. This is a pretty popular pocket knife out there. It's been around since the 60s. It's a pretty nice one. I used a knife like this since I was 9. It makes good for everyday carry. It also makes good for pretty much anything in the outdoors. I've done things from cleaning all sorts of small game with one of these. Um, I've whittled. I've even done some batoning with one of these once. It's not the kind of thing you'd want to do that with, but with a knife like this, if you kind of put it in this position, you can baton, but definitely not recommended. It can definitely break if you would do that. So I would not want to take the risk with something like this if I was going to do anything like that. But why would I use one of these knives? These are good for, like I said, everyday carry. If you just want just a normal knife that you could carry around, use for anything, for all your different outdoor activities, and something that you could also carry with you throughout the day, this is good for that. Just a good solid lockback knife. That's what I would use that for. What's nice about the Buck 110 is that it also comes with a nice leather sheath, and you can put that on your belt. And I mainly use this when I'm at my farm or if I'm out hunting, because it does not come with a pocket clip, because this is the original classic model. So it's better to put this in its sheath, have it on your belt when you're out there, so you don't have to worry about it slipping out of your pocket if you're sitting down or crossing a fence or whatever. So the next thing I want to talk about is a larger fixed blade knife. So when it comes to hunting camping knives, this is definitely a bit more versatile in different situations. Now this particular model is not the best example. You definitely don't want to have something like this, but just mainly focus on the type of knife this is. Just a large fixed blade knife. So I bought this when I think I was 14 years old, and the reason why I bought this was because on the area that I hunted on, I found out that there was a crocodile that lived in this pond that was connected to a stream that ran throughout the entire area that I hunted on. And when I went out there by myself, I wanted something that I felt a bit safer with than just a plastic pellet gun. So that's why I bought this. So what use do I have with it though? The majority of the time I had this, I just used it as a companion knife to be on my side when I was out there hunting. I didn't really use it for anything active. It just mainly served as a companion knife. But I did use it for camping a couple times. What's nice about these is that they have a nice blade length, and since this one has a handle that's pretty large as well, you could just grip on the back right there, get some leverage, and use it for chopping up firewood. And that's what I've had to do once when I was camping with my friends, and it actually served pretty well for how bad the quality of this particular knife is. That's what these things are good for though. You could use them for kind of bushcraft, any chopping. If you have a good quality one, you could use it as a survival knife. So just a large fixed blade knife for hunting. In my opinion, not the best knife for hunting now. There's not really much you can do with it when it comes to, processing game. If you're doing any field dressing or skinning or anything really, it's not very easy to do with such a large blade because you can't really get the best control out of that. Is it possible? Yes. But it's just better to have something smaller like the pocket knife I showed you if you're going to be doing any of that game processing. However, if you are using it as kind of a secondary or a primary knife, you can use a smaller pocket knife as a secondary knife to do all your small work, like all your game processing or like any fine carvings or anything, just small cutting. And you could have this on your hip and its sheath. You could use this for any chopping, any of the bigger work. I've actually done that for a few years. Not with this particular knife, with a different one, but that's what I had to do for a while, and that actually served pretty well. But if you're trying to stick to just one knife, really, if I was gonna use something like this, it would be for like some serious like big game hunting. Like if I was out in Alaska or whatever, hunting a moose by myself, maybe out in the wilderness. I want to have a knife that I could rely on to maybe make myself some firewood or, get myself out of a survival situation if I have to. But if you're just doing some casual camping or, hunting, this is not really necessary. But just remember, if you are going to get a knife like this for any of that stuff, it's good to have a secondary knife on you, like a pocket knife. So that's what I would recommend you use one of these for. So I will talk about the sheath as well. This thing is not a very good sheath. It is a very bad, I think it's polyester. I think that's what they call it. And on this particular model, it's not very good. I'll just say that. But on other knives that are higher quality, like I don't know, SE tops, you don't have to worry about that though. But with my experience with this thing, it's been bad. Moving on. So when I was I believe 17, or I am 17 now. But on Christmas, I got some money to get myself a brand new quality knife, and I decided to get an Essie. This is the Essie Zula, the Zula 2 actually. Now, the reason why I bought this is because what I've learned over all my years of hunting and camping, hiking, I think the best knife that you could get is kind of a combination between a large fixed blade and a small pocket knife. A small fixed blade. So the advantage of something like this is that you have all of the small features of a pocket knife that you would want to have. So if you're doing any of your game processing, or you're just doing small cutting, or for whatever, because that's what you're usually going to be doing anyways. Usually any of the knife tasks that you have, they're all going to be small. Usually you do not need a large knife for most things. But if you have a fixed blade knife instead of a pocket knife, there's a bit more that you can do if you have to. So on this particular one, you have a full tang. So that's when the steel that makes up that blade just pretty much makes up the whole thing actually, but mainly the handle there. So this whole thing, the whole knife is pretty much one piece if you don't count the handle scales. That isn't how it is in all cases, but if something has a full tang, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but if something has a full tang, it's going to have the steel running throughout the entire handle. So if you have a full tang, you can do a bit more, such as batoning. So you could baton a small piece of wood with this, not a very large piece, but you could still baton a little wood with this. So if you needed to make any firewood, like a feather stick, you could do that with this. And another advantage of just being a fixed blade is that you don't have to worry about so many pieces inside of a pocket knife. In a pocket knife, you have the bolsters, the onlays, the hand onlays, you know, the lock, all the different parts in there. And a fixed blade knife is just one singular piece of metal. So what's nice about that is that you are getting blood and, I don't know, maybe sweat and water, whatever, when you're doing any of your processing on an animal. You don't have to worry about maintaining it as much. On a pocket knife, you have to clean that, all the different little cracks and everything, and then after a while you have to oil it, and it just takes a bit longer to maintain. With this, it's just a singular piece of steel. There's nothing to worry about. So that's what's nice about this. So that's what I would recommend. That's why I bought this. I think the best thing that you could get if you're just going to be doing casual hunting and camping is a small fixed blade. The advantage about this is that you could also have a little sheath for it instead of this. The disadvantage with this is that you're kind of limited to where you could put your knife. And of course, it is a pocket knife. I mean, it's not really designed to be put in a not all pocket knives are designed to just be put in sheaths. This is an older model that does not have like a pocket clip or anything, so it comes with a sheath for a reason. But you could take the sheath on this thing and you could put it inside your boot, or you can mount it on your backpack strap, or pretty much anywhere. And you might like that a bit more than just a pocket knife. You can throw it in your back pocket or just in its sheath on your belt. I think that having a sheath for your blade that you could just pull out real quick is actually a lot better in a lot of situations. So that is what I would recommend. So, as that is said, that's it.